Failure and setbacks are really normal parts of freelancing, but that doesn't make it any easier. I'm here to help you bounce back. Hello, freelancers, and welcome back to another episode of the Freelancers Tea Break, the place where we can talk over a virtual cup of tea all about freelancing. I'm Emma Cossey. I'm here to guide you through the ups and downs of freelancing, and today's topic is, I guess, one of those downs. It's something that we will all face at some point or other, and it's dealing with failure and setbacks and how to bounce back. Now, I would go as far as to say everybody should be failing often. The reason being, we don't grow unless we move outside our comfort zone and face failures and learn from them. That's how we grow as people. And we actually need to be failing. And there is ways of doing it that feels safe, but there are also situations where you don't expect to fail or you don't expect to hit a sort of setback. And I know how awful that can feel. I'm someone that has a history of anxiety and ADHD. I know the stomach churning, chest tight, feeling all the emotional feelings of a failure or a setback and how awful that feels. And you're either listening or watching this because you've just experienced that and you want to know how to get rid of the feeling and bounce back, or you're a subscriber, in which case, hello, welcome back. I'm going to talk to you about how to bounce back and how to overcome it. So first, every challenge hides a gift or a lesson. So this was something I learned from Shazad Shamin. I've probably butchered his name now, I'm afraid. He wrote a really great book called Positive Intelligence, and he has a program that goes with it. He actually talks a lot about inner saboteurs, and that's really interesting to know what your inner saboteur is. Mine is people pleasing. It's a very common one for freelancers and people with ADHD. But one of the things I found really interesting about his work was he's talking about finding the gift or the lesson from every situation. And it changed how I saw situations. So I would often see a negative situation and feel like it was a total waste of my time or it was only a negative thing. And when I was able to then extract a lesson or a gift from most negative situations, not all, but most, it changed how I saw negative situations because I was able to see them as something that could be practical or productive. And you can still feel all those emotions that you feel, whether it's anger, sadness, disappointment, shame. I'll talk a bit more about shame in a bit, but it is essentially a pointless emotion because it doesn't motivate you and it doesn't make you feel any better. It's an awful emotion. But being able to identify a lesson or a gift from a negative situation means that I have something to work on. So, as an example, a few years ago, I did a training session. I was doing it for a client. I thought I had the right slides. I turned out my laptop was getting a bit old. I turned out none of the tech worked. I couldn't plug it in to put the projector on. This was how long ago it was. The slides, it turns out, I realised about 4 or 5 in that they were the wrong slides. I couldn't get on the Wi-Fi to get the right slides. The people that I was teaching were not very happy, understandably. And the whole thing went really badly and ended up leaving early. I was mortified and awful, and it stuck with me for so many years. And learning this about positive intelligence and finding the gift or the lesson helped me go back to that time and think, what did I learn from it? And obviously there are some obvious learnings I learned from it. Make sure your tech is a bit more up to date. Turn up early to get the tech ready. Make sure you really double check your slides. Download everything you might need. But also it kind of allowed me to forgive myself and to go back and say I didn't do any of those things on purpose. They all came from being disorganized, and I would say I'm a lot more organized with turning up for things like this. I always turn up early now, usually way too early. And I don't necessarily always rely on tech now if I'm going to be doing presentations or talks and things like that, but I do a lot more in terms of preparation and things like that. And also the people that I think I realized that the content I was presenting was not content that I had produced. So I also didn't 100% understand the messaging that I was trying to provide there. And it really reinforced to me that if I was going to be doing some training and presenting, I needed to do it with my own content. So there were a lot of lessons that I learned from that. So now I see that whole experience as a gift, because I learned so much and I improved as a freelancer because of it. And it can be, you can find gifts in so many different things. Like if you've had a really awful, toxic client, it can help you highlight amber or red flags early on. It can help you work out what you want to be doing, who you do want to be working with. So there's lots of different things that you can pull out that will be kind of more positive elements. So I now basically ask myself, what can I learn from this? Or what was the gift from this situation whenever I'm having some kind of negative situation? And it does help shift my mindset into a more positive one as well. And it can highlight things like a skill you might need, a gap in your process, or just the kind of people you want to work with. Finding that silver lining can turn setbacks into stepping stones. So next, you want to be reviewing your boundaries and your processes. So after a setback, it's crucial to take a step back and evaluate. So is this a case that you're overcommitting? Are your project scopes clearly defined? Was communication and onboarding as clear as it needed to be? Did you do your terms and conditions? Oh my, if there's one lesson I want you to learn before you make mistakes, it's please do terms and conditions. I say this in every single lesson. Every time I can have the opportunity to say this, it doesn't matter if you're working with friends, family, whoever, please have terms and conditions. It will make your life so much easier in the long run. Sometimes tightening up your boundaries and processes not only prevents future issues, but it also enhances your professionalism and the quality of your work. So this is an opportunity to review basically how your business is working. But the most important thing is, and actually this is probably the first thing that you should do, allow yourself time to process it and then work on some mini confidence boosting activities. So take a short break if you need to, like whether that's the afternoon off, that's a few hours if you can afford it. You're not going to shift those feelings straight away. Now, there are things that can help. So it's all the kind of cliche things. Getting out in nature, seeing friends and family, being able to rant to somebody, journaling. CBD oils can help sometimes with the physical element. I'm a big fan of either a nap or a bath sometimes to reset. Make sure that you are... I would advise not going down the route of eating a whole tub of ice cream purely because the sugar is only going to make those feelings worse. So try and put into your body things that will make you feel better and not worse. And then indulge in some activities that can help rebuild your confidence a little bit. So it could be attending a workshop to boost your knowledge. It could be updating your portfolio. Small wins like going to a networking event, share something on social media, go back and read some of your testimonials to remind yourself that actually you are very good at what you do. You are not valued. Your value is not defined by one setback. You, as a freelancer, are agile, flexible, probably a fast learner, and you will overcome this and you'll be a better freelancer as a result. But please spend some time doing that. Oh, and I wanted to touch on shame as well, because it is just such a pointless emotion. You can't shame somebody. I mean, having gone through the 90s and weight loss culture and everything like that, I can promise and tell you, shame does not give you any kind of long-term benefits. It is not a useful emotion. So if you find shame showing up, tell it to bog off. You can even draw a picture of shame and make it look as ridiculous as possible. I've got some tips actually on that. I have a freebie called the How to Beat Imposter Syndrome freebie, and in there is one about dealing with that kind of imposter syndrome, shame, angry little goblins in your head. So you can find that at freelancelifestyle.co.uk/imposter. But there's lots of other tools in there because I know it is... imposter syndrome is something that often comes out after a setback. So I just wanted to highlight that. And please remember, every freelancer's journey has its bumps, but it's the resilience and the ability to bounce back that really, truly defines our success. Thank you so much for joining me today. And if you found value in this episode, don't forget to like, share and unsubscribe for more. You can also come join us in the Facebook group, the Freelance Lifestylers, for more support. Subscribe to the newsletter for fresh new ideas every Monday and Friday. And I'm on pretty much all the socials, Emma Cossey. So feel free to come find me and have a wonderful freelance week.